Welcome back, everybody. There was a lot to unpack this weekend. How about that? I'm, of course, joined by the great John Falkowski.
Thank you, sir.
And I don't even know where we want to start. Do we want to start with the 2-0-1 start, the 2-0-1 record for the last three games, or do we want to talk about the big story that happened on Sunday?
I think we both know where we're going to start with this one. And
I think we have to.
Yeah, it's kind of unavoidable at this point. I mean, it's been all over the place. It's been in the face of everybody. It's just I actually described it the other day as like a dark cloud on one of my Twitter posts, and it really is a dark cloud. So the win last night was a huge relief. A huge relief considering everything that was going on. So,
yeah. And obviously we'll get into the details about the win later. But unfortunately, we got to get into the details about what happened Saturday night for the OT loss. Is there even one story that goes on with this right now? Because we got Georgiev was pissed off at DeAngelo because he didn't want to block the shot that Crosby scored on in overtime. We got DeAngelo who was pissed off at Georgiev, who gave the puck away and should have left it and could have left it for him behind the net. DeAngelo thinks should have. Either way was an option. We don't know which is the Ranger that hit him, do we yet?
It's been confirmed that it's Georgiev.
It is confirmed it was Georgiev. Okay.
Yeah.
Because there was all that talk about Chris Kreider with the bruised knuckles.
Yeah, and you know what? I watched the presser on it, and someone I was talking to was asking me about that, and I looked and I went and I watched the presser, and this person works in the healthcare field, so she said that it wouldn't bruise up that quickly, and I was like, you know what? All right, let me go back and watch it again. And it was red. So I was like, oh, wow, it probably was Kreider. But it's been confirmed from multiple sources, Vic Carpinello, Larry Brooks, several, Vince Mercogliano, several of the main beat writers for the Rangers, even Colin Stevenson, too, from Newsday. All said it was Georgiev.
Okay, so at least now we have something concrete to go with this.
Yeah.
Because all the other misinformation that we're getting out of this is just I wish I could put it into words, because I was trying to find the facts on this story by looking through Twitter. Trying to find facts on Twitter is like looking for common sense on Twitter. So
yeah,
I mean it's so difficult, and I actually didn't want to address the blog that was put out there, but John Davidson already did. It's in the press conference, and it was the first thing. And Davidson's reaction, I don't know if I've seen that man more mad about anything in all my years of watching him from afar as a Ranger fan and such. I mean, he looked like he was ready to throw over the table with how incensed he was by that.
Yeah, and he has every right to be. I mean, here you have a fan blog that's starting up a rumor that's completely it's a complete fallacy. It's a complete fallacy, and I get the whole where there's smoke, there's fire type thing, and Tony's past and his comments when he was in Sarnia and stuff like that. But I mean, to play devil's advocate here, it was never really confirmed what slur he used, and I'm not defending any of that. I think that everything that Tony said at that time, we never got to hear what he said, but whatever it was that was said was awful because he was suspended for it, and rightfully so. So, I mean, this person, and I've actually interacted with this person before, and I'm not going to name names, but everybody who watches this, you and I both know exactly who he is. This person has had a history of animosity with Tony DeAngelo. And it goes back to hit pieces that he wrote about him and DeAngelo's subsequent rebuttals and responses on Twitter. So there's a history, there's an agenda there is a motive for all this. And I don't want to get too far into that because it's not really my business. Even though it's public knowledge, it's not really my business, and I really don't care for it, to tell you the truth. But the situation is an awful one due to the sheer fact that they took a 21-year-old kid that's just trying to get his feet wet in the NHL and placed a major distraction at his feet to handle it. And if you're the organization, you're Keandre Miller, your teammates, you do not want to see this. And I've met Keandre Miller. There's pictures of me and him at the prospect meet and greet in June of 2019. I was there. My friend Joe went with me, and we got in there and we got to meet all the guys, and we talked to Keandre for a few minutes. He's a mild-mannered guy. He was cool, seemed really down to earth, kind of quiet. And you know what? I could just tell, he's not the type that would want to deal with something like, not that anybody would, but he's especially not the type to want to deal with controversy. There are some people who love drama. Keandre Miller does not seem like one of those people. And it's unfortunate. It's unprofessional on the blogger's part. And you know what? Honestly, if it was me, I would consider taking action against him, because those are some serious accusations to make.
It's also kind of there's two parts to my answer on this one, and it's stirring up problems or trouble that maybe it didn't exist to begin with. Because if you peel back the story that he was saying, that Tony DeAngelo took Condre Miller's first goal puck and he wouldn't give it back to him. That's sort of something that a couple of kids would do. I don't think professional hockey players would do, let alone one who on social media has a target on his back and a reputation. So I can't help but go, you know what? Something didn't seem right about that story to me.
Absolutely.
Condre was reportedly still texting Tony after all this happened. So why, if there's no animosity with Condre, why would there be a problem? Or I'm sorry, it's Keandre. It's
Keandre.
Yeah, Keandre. Yeah. I need to make sure I need to learn how to properly pronounce his name, since it'll be being said by Ranger fans for the next 10 years, if not 15.
Yeah, I was going to say we're hoping for 15, maybe even 20 if we could get that out of him.
Well, the good news is there's plenty more praise for Keandre Miller in a little bit. The other part of this that disturbs me is it's the reaction that was getting out of Twitter, that it was getting more legs. It created a life of its own with absolutely nothing but a GIF and a rumor to go with that. It's like what are you doing? We need to make sure you look for facts. You remember facts, what they used to be? I mean, it was a while ago when we had facts.
Yeah, it used to be a time where the media reported things accurately and didn't confuse them and try to fabricate them to drive a story. But welcome to today.
Well, I guess to close out the Tony DeAngelo segment, we're both got to have our final words, but I've been kind of talking about this the last couple of days. Somebody called it, and he keeps on saying it because I was right. I hope the guy learns from his mistakes, matures, does grows as a person in life, because you see other players from in hockey circles that they never grow from this. They always think they're the greatest thing in the world, and then until you realize that you were just a big fish in a little pond, and then it steadily got a little bit bigger, and now you're a nobody like the rest of us.
I'll sum it up like this: Tony's a very talented player. He's got problems. He's got some issues that he's got to deal with, and it's maturity. And you know what? I've defended him at times because I understand that people can make mistakes, and can learn from them and become better people. It doesn't matter who you are. You shouldn't just be given one strike and that's it. But Tony hasn't really learned. He hasn't learned from anything, any of his experiences. And listen, I'm the type of person where I separate politics and sports. I don't care for politics and sports. I don't care for celebrities or athletes. I don't care for their political views or opinions. I really don't. Those are the last people that I'm going to for that type of opinion or view or information. I'm not here to talk about politics. I'm here to talk about sports. I love talking about sports. I love talking about music, comics, video games, as you can tell, obviously.
Yes.
Wrestling. I love wrestling, but keep politics out of it. This is entertainment. They're two different realms, two completely different realms that should never be intertwined, if you ask me. I can deal with Tony's political views. I could deal with his defensive lapses. I can deal with, maybe him being a little bit of a hothead. But once you start berating teammates and you become a distraction in the locker room, that's when I draw the line, because I care about one thing. I care about the name on the front of the damn jersey, and that's the New York Rangers name. And if Tony DeAngelo is not going to contribute in a positive way, there you go. If he's not going to contribute in a positive way, I don't care who the player is. I don't care how good they are. But if they're not going to contribute in a positive way, and they're going to be a locker room distraction, they're going to berate teammates, and they're going to be a problem, then there's no place for someone like that on the team. And Tony is a jerk. I hope he learns from his mistakes. Do I see it happening? I don't know. But he's got a long road ahead of him. And he's going to clean it. He's going to have to clean it up somewhere else.
Well, to defend DeAngelo a little bit, part of what happened could have been simply frustration boiling over, because when you have people like me, who's not really calling for his job, but just saying his time as a Ranger is on the clock. And but one of the things I had a trouble with, and we talked about this before, is that you got Adam Fox, who's already playing better than him. You have other prospects in the pipeline ready to come and take his roster spot, and he's sitting there pouting, just resting on the laurels, just going, I scored 53 points last year. Guess what? Lots of guys are flashing the pans. Just look at freaking I thought about 3 different names, and I didn't want to name one of them. I'll say Benny Agbayani. All right, we'll just go with that one.
I was going to stick with Rangers, and I was going to say, remember Daniel Gano?
Thank you. Okay, Daniel Gano.
That was a flash in the pan.
He was very much a flash in the pan. I think he had 10 goals in his first month of 96, 97.
Yep.
But but that's what happens when you're playing with Wayne Gretzky. So like, come on. And then it's just you're not going to learn, and until you learn, you're not going to be useful to anybody. And not to bring other people's names in there. Some guys that just had huge egos and they can't get around it. All right, the hell with it. Josh Ho-Sang. Yeah. I called him the Rangers Josh Ho-Sang a while ago, and then I thought I had to apologize to DeAngelo and be right back to being Josh Ho-Sang, because you want to have an attitude, do it on another team. It's not the way hockey works.
You're right, and it's sad. And like I said, I've defended him in the past in certain aspects. I mean, I didn't think his play was as bad this season as some have made it out to be. I don't think he's played great, but I don't think he's been bad. I think there have been worse defenders on the roster. I'm looking at you, Jacob Trouba. I'm looking at you, Jack Johnson. And I honestly think that there is a place for a guy like him in the NHL, like I said on the last episode, where, like I said, that the offensive defenders, even if they're bad defensively, they will always have a place if they put up points. But Tony is his own worst enemy. He hasn't learned, and he continues it. And even Gorton said, we gave him a warning. He didn't listen. And Quinn also alluded to the fact that there were incidents like this in the past. And I don't know if you remember this, but in 2018-19, Quinn's first season, DeAngelo was actually sat a few different times during that season, and we were never given reasons why. They just said it was off-ice related stuff. I have a feeling that it's this.
Yeah, probably.
And you know what? I honestly, like I said, I hope the guy learns. I hope whatever is going on in his head, hammer it out and learn from it. But stay off Twitter. Delete your damn account and stay off Twitter and don't bother with people and stop throwing your damn teammates under the bus. It's the most screwed up thing you can do as a teammate. It's just, I forgot to get into this before, but trade value. What happens to his trade value now? Probably down the crapper.
I'm not going to completely say that because you still have a guy who scored 53 points last year that made that's only making $4.5 million for the next 2 years, or maybe it's 4.8
this year, next year. Yeah, I think
this year and
he
next
was like
year.
4.8 for him, I think.
And he's an RFA.
Yeah, so he's still got team control left, but I think there's only like a year or so after I think this deal ends because he's 25 going on 26, I believe.
Yeah, but I mean, the one actually, I'm to blame for this. I was going to make the note that prospect from the Coyotes organization that was the history of bullying.
Oh, Mitchell Miller, yeah.
Yeah, that guy's persona non grata. I don't know if he's exactly there, DeAngelo is, but he's pretty close.
Mitchell Miller is going to have to go a long way. I really don't want to get too much into him. I think
I don't either.
Absolutely despicable. But I think Tony, while he might still have some value, I knew he was going to clear waivers because think about it this way. The teams that are able to take him on at a full cap hit are rebuilding teams.
Mm-hmm.
Ottawa's, your Detroit's, your LA's that really would have the cap room and the desire to add a player like that. That's an offensive puck mover and still young. But with young locker rooms like that, do you really want to add a high-risk character like him? No.
That's where you have to go to an organization that's going to be a lot stronger with that. It's got a good locker room. One of them that comes to mind for me is the Blackhawks. But that's if Jonathan Toews was there. And
I don't know if the Blackhawks would fit that anymore. I mean, they're kind of a rebuilding team now. I mean, they've got veteran pieces. Yeah, I mean, your Keiths, your Toews, your Kane, stuff like that. But I don't know if maybe listen, I could be wrong about that, but I don't know if they necessarily fit that. But I know that they're not the same team that was going to the playoffs every year and was winning cups like they were in the previous decade. But like you got to think that a team like that doesn't have a lot of cap space would be in the position to add him if he's either retained or a bad contract is going back in return, or if worst case scenario for the Rangers, if he's bought out.
Or if there's, like I said before, a guy that hasn't exactly worked out with an organization, they want to get rid of him, or the Rangers are eating half the salary, and I don't have any problem with that.
No, neither do I.
But it's going to be interesting to see probably over the next couple of days what's going to be going on, and the Rangers are only going to have one game up until I think next Monday. So there's going to be plenty of time to move around the roster because there's going to be a lot of roster questions too.